a cold. You can make a tea, and one way of making a tea from the fresh ginger is just get the root, chop it up so it's in fairly small pieces. You don't have to grate it. Grating it is kind of challenging because of the fibrousness of the root. You can just chop it up in small pieces so you have a small handful. Put it in a couple cups of water and simmer it for 10 to 15 minutes. The longer you simmer it, the stronger it will be. If you find that you did it a little too energetically and it's a little stronger than you like it, just dilute it with a little bit of water. But ginger can be very, very good for that. And you can also add a little lemon and a little honey if that seems to make it a bit more palatable, if desired. If you take this when you have colds and flus, it'll really help to lessen that aches and pains and the congestion of the cold. You can put it in capsules, as I said. This is some capsules that I've got. The powder is just put in capsules. So if the fresh root is not an option, that can be an option. And again, with the ginger, I would prefer to take that with some food, just because, again, even though it's not as hot as cayenne, if you have a half of a teaspoon emptying into your stomach at one time on an empty stomach, it could be a little warm.
We put it in our juice. We juice with it.
Okay.
Oh my, it just gives it a snap.
Yep.
It really makes the juice taste better.
Right. How much do you usually put with your juice?
Oh, just probably a part of the root, about so big.
Okay, a fresh root. All right, and blend it all up. Very good. Another way, a great application for ginger is with a ginger bath. If you've never tried a ginger bath, it's actually pretty nice. And for this, you want the powder, because with the powder, you can just wash it down the drain. If you use the fresh root, you're either going to have to strain it out before you pour it into your bath, or you're going to be picking ginger root pieces out of your drain, which is not a very enticing thing to do. The powder works just fantastic, so you don't have to mess with all that. You can try anywhere from 2 to 6 tablespoons of ginger in your bath water. We typically use about 3. If you've never done a ginger bath before, you probably won't want to start out with 6 tablespoons, because it gets a little warm after a while. After a while, it just keeps the bath warm, and you don't even have to keep adding additional hot water to that because of the action of the ginger. And so it helps to cleanse the lymph. This bath does as well as the circulation. It helps to cleanse even directly through its action, as well as because you're sweating. As a congestion, the poultice over congested organs. We talked a little bit about that in reference to your condition as far as your lungs. You might try ginger. Your lungs, your liver, kidneys, and then of course your tea internally. So if you're finding the cayenne a little bit too potent, a little too strong, ginger is a great alternative because in addition to stimulating the circulation, it helps to cut that mucus congestion that you may be dealing with. A ginger fermentation. First of all, you make a strong tea, about 6 ounces of herb to 6 to 8 cups of water, and you simmer 20 minutes, and then after it's cool enough for you to work with, then you dip a cloth and squeeze out the excess water and apply. Now this is good if you don't want to take a full bath, a ginger bath, or maybe say you have a knee problem and it's not very accessible to just stick your knee into a tub of ginger tea. That's good for pain, tendinitis, arthritis, inflammation. Now, if some of these situations are affecting your foot or your hand, then it's much easier for you to just do a foot or hand bath. Make your tea, your strong tea, and just put your foot or your hand in it and soak that way for the arthritis or the tendinitis, etc., for inflammation. But if you can't easily do that, the fermentation with the applying it with the cloth can be very helpful. Ginger is good for digestion. You can either make as a tea, a powder, or honey balls. A tea, well, we talked about a tea. A powder, you could sprinkle it on certain foods. That tastes good. Often Oriental foods will have a little bit of ginger mixed in with it as well. Or honey balls. Honey balls are a nice little way of getting things down. And with ginger, I usually mix it with slippery elm, especially if you're dealing with a cold situation, sore throat, etc. Anyhow, and what you do is you take your powder and add just a tiny bit of honey and keep working it and working it and working it until you come up with a thick paste. You might have to add a little more honey if you didn't add enough the first time, or if you added too much honey, then you got to add a little bit more powder. You just kind of work it until you get a nice thick paste. Once you get a nice thick paste, then you form it into little balls, maybe about the size of your thumb, the end of your thumb. Put them, arrange them on a small plate, and put them in the refrigerator. And that just kind of firms them up. And whenever you need one or want one, you take it and you just put it in your mouth like a candy, and you can suck on it or chew it or whatever. And that's kind of a neat way of getting it down in a quite palatable way. So that's an option for you as well. Ginger is good for constipation. For tea, you take about an ounce of fresh ginger root, chopped, and 2 tablespoons of flaxseed. Simmer in 2 cups of water for 15 minutes, and then sweeten with a little honey. You can take this in half to one cup doses. And the combination with this is that the ginger is stimulating the circulation, is stimulating the digestion, your digestive tract, and then at the same time the flaxseed is helping to smooth things out and provide a certain mucilaginous effect that can be helpful in getting things going. As far as for digestion, you can also consider ginger if charcoal doesn't seem to help. Often charcoal will help with many digestive problems, but sometimes charcoal doesn't seem to be quite as effective as you might like it to be or want it to be, and so you might want to consider another alternative. Ginger is one alternative you can consider, or also 1 to 2 drops of peppermint oil in half a cup of water. I found peppermint oil to be quite nice for dealing with digestive upsets, whether it's gas or just whatever's going awry with the digestive system. Peppermint has been a great option for me as well. Ginger is good for nausea, motion sickness, morning sickness, etc. For motion sickness, there are some like little ginger candies you can sometimes get. So if you're going on a trip, you can maybe get those and take along with you, and that can be helpful for motion sickness. It's also good for morning sickness, and a tea for a mild case. And if it's a severe case, a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon every 15 minutes for some more severe cases. So you adjust the dosage depending upon the severity of the morning sickness case. If ginger doesn't help, you can again try peppermint oil. So there's a couple options between peppermint oil and ginger depending upon what seems to be effective. Garlic. We all know garlic, and probably many of you love garlic. Garlic is great. It's antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. And the nice thing about some of these herbs that you can find them around the world, regardless of where you go. When we travel in international countries, we don't want to just tell them about herbs that we get here in North America. At least I try not to. Some people might say, oh, you can get this from North America, but I think it's best you try to use whatever the people have locally, as opposed to encouraging them to have to send halfway around the world to get North American herbs. And the nice thing about some of these that we're talking about, the cayenne, the ginger, the garlic, these are available just about anywhere in the world. And that's a great benefit. Garlic is good for all colds, flu, infection, parasites. If you have an active infection, fresh raw is best. If you have a cold or some kind of flu that's in process, don't go for the dried powder or the garlic. I mean, if you don't have anything else, that's better than nothing. But the form of that is best is the fresh raw if you have an infection in process. And there are several ways that you can take this. You can cut it up and swallow with a little water, or you can take 1 to 2 large cloves with meals. I personally like putting it on bread, so basically you have just super strong garlic bread. And that, the bread actually helps to cut down on the fieriness of it, and so you can get some pretty big cloves down on a piece of garlic bread, or a piece of bread. Avocado? Okay. Interesting, when we were just in New Zealand this last week, avocado is their favorite thing. You know, the Asians, they have their rice. You'll have rice, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's not a meal unless you have rice. Well, in New Zealand, it's avocado. Avocado 3 times a day. Whether it's some kind of blended spread or avocado dressing or just chunks of avocado, literally, I think it was every meal we were there, avocado was there. That was pretty interesting. So yeah, that could be an option, mixing it with something like avocado or whatever else that you like, or making just strong garlic bread. Use a garlic wash for external applications. You just put the cloves in your blender and blend them up. You'll want at least 1 large clove per cup of water. If it's more severe, you could even do a more aggressive thing, but certainly at least 1 large clove per cup of water that you're using. And you can use it either as a wash or a soak if it's an extremity that you can get to. You can do it as a soak as well, and that will be really helpful for disinfecting wounds. You can use garlic and poultice for infection and congestion. So you have some overlap here between what ginger does and what garlic does. So anytime a kind of infection that you have, whether it's internal or external, you can use garlic. I've even had people use garlic for TB along with some lemon juice, and that was quite helpful. Especially, I think this case was in an African situation where, you try to again use the local herbs, and this is what the person was using: high levels of garlic with some lemon juice, and that was quite effective for this person. If you are going to make a garlic poultice, you need to protect the skin first if possible with either a little bit of Vaseline or lotion or something, because of the intensity of the garlic oils could make little blisters. So you just protect it a little bit.
Olive oil.
Or olive oil, right. You want some kind of layer of something just to protect that skin a little bit. And you can even use this for children, for cold. If they don't want to take the garlic, you can put garlic poultice on the bottom of their feet overnight and wrap their feet up. But again, you're going to want to put that protective layer underneath their feet before you put that garlic there, so you don't end up with irritated or blistered feet. And that will help to pull out that cold or that infection.
One thing we do with our daughter is we'll blend up like orange juice and garlic, fresh garlic, or if you have a fresh grapefruit juice and put some lemon juice in there, she likes it. She drinks it right up.
With the garlic?
Yeah, fresh garlic.
Wonderful. That's great.
I've actually taken a little bandage and put chopped garlic on it with a little bit of vitamin E oil on it, and I put it on it like what I considered a pre-cancerous lesion on my face.
Okay.
Basically, it just took that right off.
Wow.
It
Right.
laid away.
Wonderful.
After I took that off, we kept applying that day after day.
Right. And probably
We took it off.
a week or two, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
within about a week or so.
Mhm.
It just gone.
And you
the
put-
fresh skin basically formed over that.
And you put the olive oil between your skin and the,
It was vitamin E oil.
or vitamin-
Yeah.
you put,
Chopped up garlic in it.
okay, with chopped up garlic in it, okay. So you didn't use just a slice of garlic, you had it chopped up
I
in little,
chopped it all up very
finely,
finely.
okay.
Put it in there.